symbol. Oh, okay, I see it. All right, so it looks like pretty much everyone here is a draft now. I guess Yana, Lynn. So first off, I just want to start off mentioning for any people who don't know about the drafting tools, but the drafting tools are for Revit is what I work on. Most of the tools in these WW modeling, WW detailing, WW setup, WW families tabs are commands in Revit created by myself or Mark and Zach. These tools are available to everybody to get them. If someone doesn't have it yet, I'll show you how to do that. So I kind of want this meeting to be more of like a Q&A session. You could follow along, use these tools while I kind of demonstrate them to you. So I'm going to be either taking requests for anybody for any tool you want to learn about, or I'm just going to go through whatever tool I feel like. But to get started, you can get these tools by going to the S drive, going to the Revit folder, WW Revit add-in, WW drafting tab. So you need to get this WW drafting tab updater 2.0.exe. You could just make a copy of this. And similar to if people have used Zach's tool, similar to basically the updates 2016 file that you run every now and again. But you could just copy this file to your desktop. And if you click on this file, it's going to run an updater, and it's going to copy some files that you need to run the add-in. So anyone who doesn't have it yet can just do that. And next time you start up Revit, you'll have all the tabs that you need to run the tools in the WW modeling, WW drafting, or detailing, W setup, etc. So I guess let's just start it off. Does anybody have any questions on tools they're curious about, like we've heard about that I could demonstrate, or should I just go ahead and just pick one?
The GG tools.
Okay.
Oh yeah, me too. I was gonna say about GG
okay.
tools. Yeah.
Sure. So so let me just go into an elevation view. That's what I usually like to work in, but you could use it in any view, pretty much any view where you can access lights or ROs. So basically what these tools are doing, they're talking to the server where we have a bunch of data stored. They're using that data to modify these lights. So just to kind of show you a little bit, this is the glass family used, WW glass. It has a bunch of parameters. Some of these parameters, we have data saved to modify these parameters based on the profiles that are around each of these lights. So the verticals, horizontals, sills, heads, jams, etc. So basically all of these profiles around a light, there's data stored on the server that this program talks to, all of these GG programs. Does that make sense to everybody? Anyone have any questions about that? Okay, so first I'm going to show you this GG lookup tool. So to use it, select a light to view update profile data. So I'm going to select a light. Right now what the tool is doing is it's talking to the server, the Fremont server, and it's getting some data back for the profiles that are on this light, and you'll see what I mean in a second when this user interface pops up. But basically, it's grabbing some data. It's kind of slow because of VPN. This is a problem we just kind of have right now. And in our beta tools meeting, kind of brought up a possible solution that can make this faster, which is, I think, what we do for the takeoff program is we create like a access database on your hard drive. But right now, because of VPN, it's kind of slow for everybody. So we have this window, which has a ton of data. So around this light, there's a top mullion, a left mullion, a right mullion, and a bottom mullion. For each mullion, as I mentioned before, the data on the server is saved based on the mullion. So on the left mullion, you have an SW75 5692.08p, the right mullion, SW75 5691p, and et cetera for the top and the bottom. And based on the name of the mullion, there's data on a table for the bites, gaskets, sealant, setting block, and other offset values. And this is because our contains parameters that control gaskets, setting blocks, sealant, in addition to just being a glass family with just bites. Any questions about that? What we're looking at?
So you don't have to know what it should be at all, basically, when you...
No. The idea is that, when we kind of brainstormed this idea, was that a lot of the times most profiles are standard and you're using a lot of them over and over again. So if we know what the correct byte is, and we can save that somewhere, then why have to figure it out time and time again if it's already correct the first time? The idea is we figure out what, like, for example, the horizontal, what the byte is supposed to be, save it on the database, and then anytime you need to get data or create a light that has this top mullion, you could know what data to use. It's kind of, and this is just like a display of that data before you load it into the actual project. Because right now, this is just like a display. It's not actually loading anything yet.
I like the little rules exception thing on the
right
left
here?
side.
Yeah.
And on the bottom, on the left side.
Yeah. Maybe just to explain that a little bit. For these names of each mullion, see how this is highlighted in black? That means that it's just a standard data that's on the server. If it's in red, that means that it's been overridden for whatever reason for your project. And if it says gray, that just means there's no data found. Say one of these profiles is correct, or one of these profiles is incorrect for whatever reason. You could overwrite the data per your project, because normally, if the way our process is right now, if you wanted to change profile data, you would contact Team Esli, and that could take, time for them to fix it. That's not always like, I wouldn't say possible, but like the time constraints is not always like, I guess possible for them to get back to you in a decent amount of time. So what drafters will do, like sometimes if there's a time crunch, you could just overwrite this. say this is supposed to be 3/4. And then you could hit update bottom. And this name turns red, which means that it's been overridden. Does everyone follow so far on that?
So basically, you mean right now you actually you react only with your image over here. You haven't.
Nothing is in Revit. This is all just talking to the database.
Okay, so is this basically concept you try to achieve? It's like we use on the inventor called iLogical. It's kind of reverse the database input from Excel. You from outside the resource platform. You can manipulate over there, then run transfer back. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Basically,
Okay.
it's very similar. It's just a different interface.
Yeah, got it. Okay, this is better. Okay.
Yeah.
So Alan, when would we need to override that?
Like I mentioned, normally, like say like it's a new profile. Like Team Esley had just created like a new profile, and the way we do it right now, Amber runs a program in AutoCAD to generate this data. And
this is actually very useful, James. I told you what we use this one at my previous company. Use this. This is always I'm looking. That's why why I contact with you. Why I want to study that one, because we use this a lot. It's the things. It's the beauty of this one. You only have one person. You don't have touch the model. You just use Excel, whatever, or this kind of database. You can input, manipulate the data. When you're done, you put in over there. You don't need to touch the model. Model upgrade by itself. That's what we did at Benson, because this way you only can have job captain can control it, or fab coordinator can control it, like a fab. When you notch, you want I want 2 mm notch, change to 3 mm. You just go back, change all this data in an Excel file, now push it through. We use this one at Inventor, but unfortunately, I don't think Revit has this built easier, user-friendly. I think Alan's tool will help bridge this one. This is exactly like Inventor function. They call iLogical.
Yeah, that's the idea, basically. Yeah, I'm familiar with iLogic, and yeah, I'd say that's the idea, Lynn.
Yeah.
But to get back to it, basically, get back to your question. It would be in a case where, for whatever reason, maybe there was like a change to the drawings or something, where the bytes were incorrect at the time when Amber was inputting the data, because I don't know, there was that happened once where the drawings were incorrect. Or for whatever reason, there was an issue with Zach's program that Amber uses. And a drafter's in a time crunch, they can just quickly change the data, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Okay. You could also just hit this revert button, and it'll revert your data back to what it was before. And to actually load the data, you would just hit this load button, and this will actually put it into the project. It's like Lynn was saying, nothing happens until it's loaded into the project. And that GG lookup is kind of a way to like see all the data for each light, as well as load it into like the project for that one light. And as I mentioned before, VPN is kind of slow. We're trying to make a workaround for that. And when this finishes, I can show you guys GG 2.0 unless there's other questions about this tool.
You can do it on multiple, right?
Yeah, that's actually the tool that I'm going to show. So that was for one light. That was GG lookup. Yana, to do multiple lights, you would do this tool, GG 2.0. So this user interface isn't the best, but basically you can select ROs in a view. Like that. Or alternatively, you could hit this select all button. And if you hit the select all button, it'll select all the lights in the entire project. And then it'll basically do the load from GG lookup for all the lights, but it's going to be pretty slow if I hit this. I'm not going to demonstrate it right now. But this is what I think most drafters are doing right now. They're just hitting the select all. And then based on what I showed in GG lookup, it'll load that data for all the lights in the project. So basically, I think what most drafters will do, like I said, they'll hit the select all, and if there's any errors, those will pop up. I'll show you kind of an example of what possible error could be, I guess. Let's say I just deleted this vertical. It should show you an example of an error. It's taking its time. So what you should be seeing is either an error, like it couldn't find that mullion, or a blank mullion in that user interface window.
So Alan, I just wondering, I mean, we're still getting errors sometimes, but I guess it's much less on a glass bar. It's like much less than before. So is it like, let's say the scenario, you have a split mullion gem, but let's say you didn't have that profile or some kind of transition area, so you put the regular gem and your glass bar is calculated ½ an inch there, but you need to override it because if you do like a profile modifier, it's not real profile. Can you override it on that gem and say, actually, this 7/8 because I'm kind of faking it? And just in one
would
spot.
it be for? Would it just be that profile at that location, or for the whole?
Yeah, file? Just for that spot. Yeah. Is it like easy to override it still?
If that was the case, say, would it be like, say it was this RO would be like just in like one location, like one light, or would it be like all the lights?
Yeah, something like just one light or one unit, something just like.
If it's just like one light or one unit, I mean, these are just parameters that
you can do old-fashioned way.
Yeah, I mean, you could just modify these.
But if you run the GG 2.0, it will override it back, right?
It'll override it to whatever it is on the server, because it does profile modifiers. Yeah. Yeah, that's the basic gist of GG 2.0. There's some shortcomings. It doesn't check for things like Yana said. It just reads the data and gives whatever's on the database. So I mean, there still could be errors, like, honestly.
What Yana said, it's kind of not supposed to happen, kind of thing. But
yeah,
it's very oddballs. So
yeah.
But for the most part, you know, people run GG 2.0 one time at the beginning and get their glass sizes. If something Amber did or something Amber set up was off, you know, then, you know, you need to get Esley's group to sort of update it so the server gets fixed. But as Alan said, you can override it locally if you need to, you know, if you don't want to wait for your own particular project. But you should always tell Amber when you're seeing something odd so that the server gets fixed so the next person doesn't have that problem, right? But
Yeah.
you can overwrite the sizes, but like Alan said, it's not looking at modifiers. So it's not like you're creating unique modifier glass bytes. So yeah, if you do run GG 2.0 again, you're gonna go back to the beginning. So you probably would run it all, look through your elevations, make sure everything's right, fix any little things you have, and then move on, right? So.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah,
GG 2.0 include shadow boxes and backpans data? Or you
No.
still have to do it in the main one, kind of in an old-fashioned way?
Shadow box and backpan.
It's still here.
It's all manual. It's a manual process.
Yeah, it kind of sucks because if you think about jobs like Lumen, where like every single glass has a kind of.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's off topic, but I did create a filter to get shadow box and backpans. That's probably a different discussion.
And GG 2.0 is, you know, sort of looking at the profiles. The shadow box and backpans aren't relative to the profiles, so it would have to be a different kind of tool, you know.
No,
Yeah.
they would be relevant to the profiles in the corners, right? I mean, you're right. They're relevant more to how deep they're sitting, kind of the relationship with the system, but it is a little relationship.
I would say it would be probably the workflow I would see would be, you know, do GG 2.0, get your glass sizes right, change your glass types to the right glass types, then run a tool that would be relative to glass types, because backpans and shadow boxes are relative to the glass types. So it seems like there'd be 3 steps if you were doing it, but you know, they're not relative to the profiles in a couple places maybe, but mostly they're relative to the glass type. So I would say get your glass sizes right. Then Alan could make a tool that says, okay, just tell me which glass types have backpans and shadow boxes, and it could roll through and do it all for you. You know, but that's the way I would see that happening.
Yeah, that'd be something that's pretty possible if it really is just tied to the glass type.
Yeah. It needs to be anyway, because our mark numbers and everything are tied to that. So it's kind of how it's set up.
Okay. Yeah. Does anybody have any other questions about GG 2.0? I just want to mention then, like really quick, that I've been working on an improvement to GG 2.0. Probably some people have seen this already. But the idea would be basically a similar tool, but it'd just be easier to get some of the data. So it would give you any lights that don't match the profiles around them. And then it'll tell you like which parameters don't match, and you can reload them as necessary. I don't want to go too much into it because the VPN is pretty slow, and I don't want everyone to be sitting here 10 minutes, but maybe another time I can kind of dive into this. Just as kind of like an aside.
And it's a help, that's a back checking tool really, right? To sort of show anything that isn't following the standards, right?
Yeah, yeah. I would say it's, yeah.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that before. That's cool. GG 3.0 is what you called it?
Yeah. I'm really creative with the names, you know.
Yeah. At least you don't name them all with an A, you know what I mean? Like Zach's not in this mess, not in this thing, is he?
No, I don't think so. But yeah, there's not any more questions on this one. I guess we can move on. Does anybody want to see any other tools in specific?
I want to see your favorite tool.
my favorite tool.
Uh-huh.
How about, let's see, do we use this anymore? We don't really use that. How about window deadload? So this is a tool for placing window deadload symbols, and based off of which ROs you select, it gives you some options. It tells you like how it's going to place it. Most of the time it's pretty much correct unless there's like some different like condition. And to place it, you just click, and then it places them on the levels they're supposed to be at. And you have your window deadload symbols. And of course, there are some weird conditions. Most of the time, like this is just going to give you the right symbols.
That's a great tool. That just like makes it so much easier to get the data right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does it also work in like section view as well?
I think so. It doesn't. There's just bugs on certain sections. But then again, I haven't used it in a long time. Place it over here.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you can just kind of manually drag some of those symbols if need be, right?
These are just symbols it placed. Like you can put them wherever you want. Or you could put it on the other side, but I mean, pretty much all the time they're on this side. I think that's our standard.
Yeah, I think it's more like the interior side of the building, but standards.
Is it? Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to go back to the other view. I guess I'll just go through tools until people have questions. So tags and X, or tags or X, is just another annotating tool where you could add tags or X's to units. So for tags and X, let's see. Well, they already have X's, but say you wanted to tag an X for whatever reason, although like there's already X's, you would just select the unit that you want. And then it'll put class tags as well as an X on the unit that you select. It's just a quick little macro, so you don't have to go in and place these manually on all the lights and then draw this. There's just a tag button, or there's just an X button. This is another quick macro kind of like tool for annotating. Should be pretty straightforward. And I don't know if there's any questions on that. And just recently, another annotation tool, I think I just added this like maybe last month, for oversized there's this block tag. I think the standard is over 40 feet or square feet, I think it is. I don't remember the exact rule for the standard. I'll just run the tool. Oops, select the light. Let's see how big this is. Let's see. Is this one bigger? Block tag. Does anyone remember this rule? I think it's over 40 square feet, right?
Yeah, it should be over 40.
But this
Those
one's
are
only
really-
38 square feet.
Yeah,
so
they're
don't place
really
that.
close. You got 5x8s, you know, that they're a little
Yeah.
under. Just move the grid line over a little bit, make it bigger.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Oh, great. See, that's what I was kind of afraid of. Oh, yeah, remove constraint. Live demos, huh? So this
Yeah.
is now 43 square foot, so it should place a tag there. It didn't place it. So, not sure exactly why. Maybe it's not visible in this view for whatever reason.
Yeah, that could be.
Again, I just added this. And I don't know, people have been using it. I'll have to look into that, why it's not working on this project.
So what this was, especially if you're in the takeoff group, right? So whenever we have a situation where we need larger setting blocks, this, you know, would go through and look at all the lights and glass and then, you know, put the symbol in where you need a bigger setting block than the 4-inch block. So saves saves the draftsman having to do it manually and look for them and physically go check them. And then the takeoff group gets that visual that shows, oh, hey, this has a different setting block size on these particular lights.
Exactly, yeah. Like Steve says, like the first one I mentioned is just for selecting them manually, or like kind of window select the ones you want. And then the second block tags filter, you can just select a view or do the current view that you want to add the tag lights in, and you could just check all the lights that you want to add the blocks for, all the ones that are over a certain amount of square feet. So that is that tool. As Steve mentioned, it's for oversized or for setting blocks for lights. So takeoff can see the symbol, like which blocks need to be bigger. So another tool that I have, let me just go to a different view. So another tool I have is for, it's called Kernel Dimensioning tool. Let's call it CWDT. It's another tool for doing annotations. But basically, give some options for creating dimensions for an RO. Not exactly sure what is loading. But it should basically kind of recreate these dimensions here, as well as vertical to vertical dimensions, and then other dimensions like grid lines and stuff. There's a bunch of options for, let's see, for changing, like if you what dimensions you want to place, or you could just do default. If you just do default, it'll create like a DP to DP dimension, as well as like horizontal dimensions, and then vertical dimensions with like a centerline symbol, dimensions to grid lines. But as I mentioned before, you can change some of the options here. So for like the vertical one, you can you know, change where this dimension is going to show up, so you can make it come up over here or something. The horizontal dimension, you can change where the where that dimension shows up. I moved it like somewhere over here, 8 feet to the left. You can place angle symbols for like corners, them like where they're supposed to be. And basically the same, like it just, all I did was really add the offset. It put the same dimensions. And this is a quicker way of creating these dimensions, which normally, you know, you would dimension from points on the RO, like see, like I selected the wrong point. It's easy to make mistakes doing this manually. I know, like, we make a lot of mistakes with this, and using this tool should create a little more consistency with actually creating these dimensions and not making mistakes.
So what does it find? What does it sense?
What
Like,
does it find?
yeah, let's say, for example, on the corner, does it sense like the frame?
As far as for what, making the angle symbol? Or for
Making the decision where to put the dimension, kind of. It finds no, here. It
So it uses reference points on the actual RO.
Oh.
So it references to like the bottom reference, like the bottom of it, the top of it. It finds any grid lines on the RO. And then it creates dimensions based on that. It does the same thing for these vertical to vertical dimensions. Like it'll dimension from this side reference, it'll dimension to the next grid line, and so on until it gets to the end. It also looks for these grid lines in the view, and it dimensions to these as well. It also dimensions to levels. So that's why there's this 10-foot DP to DP. Did I do this one? I think that one was there before.
Are there all tools work on all the versions of Revit what we have right now?
Should. I mean, there's little things that pop up, probably like this happened to me, Zach, Mark, where you'll be in like 2019 and in 2020 something changes in Revit. So like maybe one tool doesn't work first, and we have to fix it. But as far as I know, everything works right now.
So you said it measures or throws a dimension in from grid line to the edge of the opening, correct?
Yeah.
You pan up just a little bit. I just want to see that dimension.
Sure. Pan out or pan in?
Oh, no, I was just looking for that one right there.
Oh. I don't know what this is. What is this? Is this a reference? That's a reference plane.
I don't know.
Oh, you got one over here.
Alan, which means we have to add reference plane bottom of elevation and top manually, or
No,
or
I don't think
name
it's not using the reference plane at all. I don't think. I don't know what this is used for in this view. It's probably for something else. It's only looking at the RO itself. It's not looking at the reference plane.
Okay, it's automatically read RO.
Yeah, RO,
Okay.
and then it looks
If somebody
at the
wanted to update their elevation, its dimension automatically should be done, right?
Yeah, it's using the reference points on the actual RO. So if we move this, it's gonna move with the. Let's see. See, it moved with the wall because it's referenced to this side of the wall. You didn't actually delete anything that it's dependent on. If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool.
Alan, can I ask a stupid question?
Sure.
You know, like in AutoCAD tools, like an Revit tool, you can pin to the like you can pinpoint kind of it tells you shortly what does it do. Does it do it with your tools?
Yeah. Actually, there was something I was going to mention and I forgot to mention, Yana. Thank you for mentioning that. So actually, if you hover over my tools, this isn't for all of them, but it should be for all of them. But for a good number of them, if you press F1, it'll navigate you to a video YouTube page, and
Nice.
the YouTube video should give you an explanation of the tool.
That's so cool.
Some of them actually don't have it, although they should, but a lot of them do. See, these ones don't have the F1 thing. This one does. This one does.
That's a great feature.
And then you could just watch the video and it could teach you how to use the tool.
Yeah, not only for us, for yourself. You probably forgot because you create so many.
Yeah, I mean, just like when I was just trying to explain the block tag, like I kind of forgot the premise a little bit because it's just like you make so many of these, you kind of forget. But yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Yana. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you for making it. It's because I can tell we're not gonna go through all the tools, and it's just like, and I'm just loading it to my Revit to try it out. So.
Yeah, I mean, a kind of idea is it's kind of similar to the beta tools meeting I have. Like, I just want this to be more like a forum to ask questions and maybe even think of new ideas for tools. Like,
is that other button below the curtain wall dimension tool for doors?
Yeah.
Okay.
Door dimensioning tool. That one, we have two different ways of, well, at least before, I don't know now, because I think we're doing doors differently again. But at the time I made this, we kind of had two different ways of doing doors. One was to modify this profile, kind of like cut out a little section for the door and then place like a door RO basically. Another way was to actually make a panel and place a door on it. And I believe this only worked for one of those methods, and I kind of like scrapped it. But I mean, now I think we're going a different direction on doors. Like, I'm not exactly sure. I know we're like not putting like the sill track on it or anything or something, or like, or the sill track's not supposed to be there, but I forgot exactly how we're modeling it now, but we're modeling it different.
Yeah, we want to just leave the sill runner in there now, just so it's
we're leaving it in. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Will the,
yeah,
will
I
the,
don't know if
will the tool still works? Will it sense the door? I'm wondering now.
Well, it depends. I'm not exactly sure. Like, if is it still going to be, we're using those two different ways of modeling doors, or is it just the one, or are we just going to make it one way?
Hopefully we just do it one way. I don't know if there might be, necessary to edit the profile. I'm just thinking, like, if you have where the door kind of comes down a little bit, you might need to edit the profile.
Yeah, see, this one, it was modeled the other way, I think. I think you're right, James. There might be times when you need to model it either way because you can't create it. Like I said, I kind of scrapped this tool. I haven't worked on it in a long time. Let's see if it works for the store. So I created dimensions. so much stuff here, it's kind of hard to see what it's doing.
Do I have to censor that code now before I post it to YouTube?
I don't think we have anything like confidential, or do we? But yeah.
But what you posting on YouTube, like the link F1, is it confidential?
Well, no, he just flashed some of his code on the screen. So.
Maybe you missed it, but this popped up. I mean, it's not.
It doesn't say
like,
anything to me.
It's like version is greater than 2018. Okay, it's an error message. It's nothing. But yeah, this is the dimensions it created. I'm not super well versed with what it's supposed to look like, so I don't know.
Yeah,
if
no,
this
that
is
looks
correct.
good. Yeah, so it created that one, that one, that one. Did it create this one, you said?
Yeah, it created everything you can see right now. I just don't know like this is correct.
Yeah, that looks correct. Yeah, I usually look for all those right there.
Okay.
Everything that's circled. So that looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Are we still having a lot of issues with these door dimensions?
I haven't heard anything. So
Yeah, I'm not sure how much people have been using this tool, just because like there's two different ways of modeling right now. It only lists one.
I think we have one person on the line that might use it.
Well, Farzad too, and Carla.
Carla, yeah.
Damien? Oh, Damien, you do sales now.
I don't know if Carla's used the tool or not.
Probably did. She uses everything.
We
Hey,
can still
Alan.
talk about her, but
What about the reload family? Because like sometimes I have something comes to take off, and I know the version of on the server was updated. The family name is the same. I have to, because I didn't use that obviously that one in the modeling.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to like select the family to reload from there? Can you show how to do it on the far left?
The far left?
Yeah, you see the green one, the green brown.
Oh, this?
What is it? Is it?
I think this is something that I created a long time ago. Let's see, reload emollient's respective profile family from latest file on server. I guess it worked. I guess this profile is out of date.
But you need to select what you're reloading, right?
Yeah.
But it's not gonna work like for the whole job, right?
No, this is just for one file. I think Mark is working on something way more sophisticated where it actually reload different versions of all the files in a project. I don't know, maybe he'll show that off. I think he's showed it in the engineering meeting before. I just, I'm not familiar with it or where it even is. Description updater, detail updater. Or maybe it's just the detail item families. I don't know which families were out of date or like were you having trouble with?
I don't know on this job, but I mean,
Okay.
it could be mock clips. It's pretty common, like a generic models.
Okay.
Stuff like this. Or it could be something what related to the glass. It needs to be like reloaded.
Okay. Well, looks like we have 5 minutes left. So I don't know. Is there any last things I should go over before time's up? I should just keep going through tools. Anyone have questions?
Just another favorite tool of yours. Oh, color,
Okay.
color. What is color?
Just color something. Did I not select it? It's weird.
Choose blue. Yana like blue.
Blue.
Hmm.
Huh. Well, that looks like a bug. It's supposed to color the element.
But you know, that job has like a custom colors too. Maybe this is why.
I'm
Remember,
not sure.
it's Celine's job, and she likes to color the booleans according to what it is, kind of for visual effects. Maybe this is what makes it.
I mean, for most things, you could just do this.
So you select the detail, kind of.
Well, I mean, for most things, you could just right-click it and hit Override Graphics and View, and then color it. But I mean, for some stuff like this detail bubble, like you can't really color the actual bubble part, so you just color the lines. And that's what the tool kind of was supposed to do, is you're supposed to be able to color elements that normally aren't supposed to be able to color. Yeah, I don't know why there's a bug with it, or why it's not working on this project. But yeah, I have a break shape generator where you can draw lines and make a break shape. You can fill it, basically. You can just draw like your break shape. The lines are supposed to be. Edit that part out. I don't know what I clicked. What? Detail view. You can't make it in a detail view.
Oh, nice.
That was weird that it didn't let me place it in that kind of view. You can kind of just draw the detail lines that. This one has a video too. If you press F1 over
Maybe
this,
it was like a section and it was freaking out because it wasn't detail.
I think it was the type of view. It was because I guess this is a detail view. I don't know why it should be able to create it here. I don't know. Basically, you can draw lines, and then there's a bunch of options. I think you can do like, what else can you do? You can add a return leg. You could do a steel material composite. That'll change this filled region type. You can open the ends. You can change the thickness. So similar to whoever is familiar, and if most people are familiar with the AutoCAD tool that we have. Fill direction, or return leg direction, place text note location. I know this is probably some ridiculous shape, but that's the idea and what the tool can do.
Great.
I think we're pretty much at the end. Anyone have any other questions about other stuff? Like, I know there's like a lot of tools here, probably too many, didn't get to go over them. I don't know, what did everyone think? Like, you know more tools now?
I don't feel like I know more, but I kind of like that you showed it to me. I feel lucky that you showed it to me.
Yeah, okay. Well, thanks everybody.
Thank you, Alan.
Alan,
Yep.
thanks.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah.